Hi, folks. I'm Sumanth Gorajala. I'm Senior Director, Wireless Product Management in specific. So I'll take you through the much awaited Wi-Fi 7. Before that, I would like to go through some of our vision in terms of wireless and to hang on to hook on to what Chris has mentioned. So we want to deliver intelligent and secure connectivity to everyone from top to bottom. Okay, in this security-driven approach, what we are trying to do is we want to keep the network fast and also secure. Gone are the days where networking is siloed, the team is different from security team, and they don't talk to each other. I think we talked about it a little while ago. They don't talk to each other. They don't know what ports need to be opened, what is the accessibility, where the traffic is from east to west or north to south, where is the segmentation being done, and how these security postures are being pushed across. So that we need to bring it to the edge. That's where the wireless edge will have security enabled on before even it hits the networking or the Ethernet part of it. So that's where we talked about it in the last MFT. We spoke about UTM being added to our access point portfolio. And as we said, it is a single OS. So we have easy single pane deployment. You take whatever the management solutions, the same wireless AP can be managed by any of the solutions. So it is easy, portable, and you can, as your business needs grow, you can move from one management solution to another management solution with very ease. Okay, and we have intelligent backup with FortiGuard AI, and also we have FortiAI Ops, which is more of network management, AI insights and stuff, which recommends for wireless and wired.
When somebody is moving is from one platform to another platform, right?
Yes.
For scale or whatever reason, licensing, is it all brand new licensing, or does it just carry over to?
So yeah, each management solution has a different licensing,
Right.
but the hardware will stick to it. What I want to reiterate is you take an AP, you have a branch office with one or two APs. Now you want a wireless controller on the same branch office on-prem solution, then you can have it connected. Now your business has grown. You don't want to extend the same concept to all the 1,000 stores you're opening. Then what you do, you can, if you want to eliminate the FortiGate, which is our controller specific to a location, you can move it to the cloud. So all these APs across branch locations can connect back. So now you need a cloud SKU.
Right, but what I want to understand is, like, so let's say I have a 3-year licensing, for example, right, for that. Now I'm 2 year into it. I'm going to cloud. That 1 year, do I lose it and I start all over, or does that? How does the licensing?
That's a good.
No licensing on the FortiGate.
Oh, okay. So for the APs, no licensing on the FortiGate. So it'll just be for the cloud at that point then.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right.
There's support, but not licensing.
Got it.
Yeah, but if you're moving from cloud to SASE or you want to try something else, then there is an AP SKU where you enable for it to be managed by a SASE portfolio.
Okay.
So something like that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So yeah, in terms of LAN edge, like the convergence benefits, like what is it? Why is that security connectivity? The convergence is needed. What is it for you guys? Is for a business case, it is less total cost of ownership because it's all integrated. The same firewall, which Chris was talking about, more than 50% of our global shipments are all firewall in globally. So the same firewall can also be a wireless controller, switch controller, FortiExtender controller. There are a lot of options enabled with no additional cost. So the cost of ownership reduces, and you don't have two teams talking. Having siloed architecture where they don't talk to each other, they have issues in communicating and stuff like that. So it increases your efficiency in terms of operations, implementation, security posture enablement, management, and all this. And because of the same product having additional a footprint or client visibility, what you can do is an end-to-end understanding of what users are there, whether it is wireless, wired, everything is collated in the same FortiGate, which is our firewall product, and then it's also a wireless controller. So you have more visibility added to it from end-to-end solution. So your cost savings are much higher compared to any other products.
Okay, so same exact thing, switches in the firewall, no licensing costs and all that. But,
Absolutely.
So a question that what about the performance hit, right? So if I'm speccing out a firewall, normally I'm, like the features, I want IPS, IDS, and like, for example, your enterprise license. That's a very common thing that I always normally go with. So I want all the features enabled, and in the firewall, more features you enable, more performance hit it can take. If I spec out a firewall for, let's say, a 2 gig circuit, right, and I want to go with at least a 3 gig IPS throughput, right? So now if I'm putting APs and switches and all that to get, so is that taking a performance hit or?
So yeah, so there are multiple modes, right? You're tunneling the traffic. All the traffic goes back to your centralized location.
Right.
Yeah, there's always this traffic going back to one centralized location, and then you're creating policies for it to go whatever the direction. On that policy is where you apply whether it is IPS, AV, or application control. When there is a traffic sample which is passing through a policy which is heavily on IPS, there will be some performance. But when it comes to FortiGates, they're the most powerful. We can support the highest number in the industry as such in terms of line gig with IPS and stuff like that. So I think, there are numbers based on the FortiGate model, based on,
Yeah, so if I can cut you, Sumanth, per model, so we have from a small end device up to the carrier-grade platform. We support X amount of access points in local bridge mode or X amount of access points in tunnel mode. So we are driving that from a QA point of view, and we ensure that whatever we announce is capable to be supported on the device. So
with all the features enabled?
With all the features enabled, yes.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. And to offload, we also have UTM now offloaded to the AP, right? So AP, as is most of these APs, can also perform UTM on the AP by itself, on the wireless side itself, before even it goes back to the wired edge.
That's one of the big selling points, right? That's one of the things that everybody
that's one
loves
of the
about.
big convergence selling points where we brought security to the wireless aspect of it.
Also, Sumanth, if I can interrupt you, each FortiGate is having an ASIC inside, meaning that if you are doing some encryption, it would be offloaded by the ASIC. So we are capable to offload the resources of the device by leveraging the hardware acceleration we have on it.
Yeah, Fortinet
creating your own ASICs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fortinet has its own ASICs. We call it content processing engines or network processing engines. So NP6, NP7, all these are Fortinet's products internally. So which sits on most of these FortiGates, which enhances the throughput in terms of encryption, IPsec, IPS, all this.
And you've been doing that on your APs for a while, though.
Yeah, 20 plus years. No, not on the APs. I mean, FortiGates.
Yeah, but on the APs.
On the APs for the last 3 years, we've been heavily on UTM on the AP level. Yes. Okay, so we have been secure, but till recently, till the Wi-Fi 6E, what we have seen is the max we got. We started from 54 Mbps. Now we are at a state somewhere around 9.6 with Wi-Fi 6E. But with Wi-Fi 7, we added a fastness to the security, the high throughput capabilities. We started somewhere in 2007 on the wireless 802.11. We used to get like starting from 54 Mbps to around 600 Mbps on a 4x4. Now with 6E, we have got to somewhere around less than 10 gig. With Wi-Fi 7 for a 16x16, with all the features like channel bandwidth 4096, key features like multi-link operation or multi-RU or preamble puncturing concepts and firewall MPDU compressed block mechanisms. With all this, we can reach to around 46 Gbps on a 16x16. But the one which we will be seeing from Fortinet as a FortiAP is a 4x4 AP. We theoretically can do somewhere around 21 Gbps.
So the question is, are you going to make a 16 by 16?
So if there is a need from a service provider, yes, we will always.
That's a much better answer, I got to say. Saying if there's a need, okay, fair enough.
We have always been a solution company, so when there is a need, we are always there to deliver it. Okay. So with 6E brings the 6 GHz spectrum. So with that spectrum, we have a lot of band and spectrum availability, which is like less interfering and high. Like for example, in terms of 320 megahertz, which has been added to Wi-Fi 7, we can still have 3 individual contiguous channels in 320 megahertz. With 160, we have 9. With the previous 5 gig, we're getting 80. Now we become 160, 240, 320. The channel bandwidth has increased, so did the throughput. And in terms of modulation, we have moved from 1024 with the recent Wi-Fi 6E to Wi-Fi 7, which is the 4096 QAM. The more amplitude modulation, so you get higher throughput within the same bandwidth which you're utilizing. So we'll go over few of the features of Wi-Fi 7. Some of these are already existent in the products we have already released. So one is the higher modulation I talked about. We have increased from 10 bits per symbol to 12 bits per symbol. So meaning then 4096 QAM will give you higher throughputs in overall aspect of it. So the only major advantage with this is high throughput for gaming and any other places where there is a requirement for high throughput and real-time less latency requirements. That's where this is a big advantage. And with Wi-Fi 7, unlike the previous releases, it's a multi-link operation. We have never seen a multi-link operation earlier. This is the first time, meaning earlier we used to either talk on 2.4 gig or 5 gig. Now, on top of it, you have 2.4, 5, 6 added. And on top of it, you can simultaneously talk on two different frequency bands. You can either do 2.45 or 5 and 6 or 6 and 2.4, whatever the combination. So you are utilizing 2 links to a client. And with those 2 links, depending on the interference, you can actually switch between or aggregate throughput across the links. And preamble, the flexible channel utilization, which is otherwise called as preamble puncturing. So earlier, when you're utilizing a 80 megahertz and you have interference in one of the 20, you have to fall back to 20 or 40 and only use that contiguous channel. But now you can puncture the 20 which you see interference and use the rest 60 megahertz for your transmission and receive. So that is one of the additions. And now 320, a wider channel. Now we have more combinations to work on, more higher bandwidth with the channel bandwidth capabilities.
And you all have a Wi-Fi 7 certified AP already?
Not yet certified. The lab is also catching up to it. So we are working on certification. Currently, it is in progress.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you'll then by that virtue you'll support all of the Wi-Fi 7
yes,
functionality.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
There's not going to be one missing.
So Wi-Fi 7 as such also ratified in terms of, it's Wi-Fi 7 wave 1 or wave 2. So the first ratification, most of these which I'm showing are all supported. There'll be more enhancements coming on the driver level, which will add to it. But the good part is we will not be changing any hardware, which is needed for a Wi-Fi 7 to work with a newer set of features.
Fantastic.
So we are ready with Wi-Fi 7, and we were one among the industry's first leaders to have a Wi-Fi 7 AP. A couple of them here. So this one, Wi-Fi 7 indoor AP with an internal antenna, Wi-Fi 7 indoor AP with an external antenna. Yeah, there are 10 antennas here. You don't need to count on that. But there are some previous models. We have F series. We'll go over it, but I just wanted to. So these are 441, 443. It's a Wi-Fi 7 AP with a 4 radio. The concept here is 3 radios will do AP service, meaning it'll be doing the access point as an access point servicing the clients. The 4th radio is dedicated to do securities like WAIDs, background scan, supporting for RRM, radio resource management, and stuff like that. So we have moved the dirty job from these 3 servicing radios to the 4th radio so that it can be dedicatedly doing scans, looking for rogues, APs, rogue APs, rogue clients, detecting the WIDs, WIPs, and whatever. All that will be done on the 4th radio. So these come with 2 10 gig ports. Think about it. We can do 21 Gbps theoretical on wireless only. So 2 10 gig ports. If you are aggregating, you have 20 gig. If you want one, you're okay to use that with one. And we have 21 Gbps theoretical. It comes with 4 radios. We have a GPS radio already integrated into the product. We have another Zigbee IoT BLE radio. As I said, the management in flexibility, you can manage the same AP through FortiGate, which is our FortiOS. Then LAN Cloud, FortiSASE. You can do whatever management solution which prefers your business needs. UTP. We're working on UTP fully supported on the K series, which is our Wi-Fi 7 models. So when it comes to UTP, what we're talking about is everything like the lightweight version of antivirus, intrusion prevention, application control, web filtering, and bots. So everything antibot, antivirus, IPS, everything will be on the AP level. So that when the wireless client connects, when you have this enabled, all the traffic goes through the IPS engine and then passed on to the Ethernet side of it. Okay.
Is this basically like having a firewall in every AP?
So it's like a mini firewall in every AP, but it's not more of a firewall because you're not doing the policing, but you're only doing the security posturing of it. So all your traffic can go through the IPS engine.
So when you have the a controller with all these APs and each AP has the capability, do they share responsibilities or is it relayed, pushed to the edge? Or
as we talked about earlier, we have tunnel traffic versus the bridge traffic. When you're having a bridge traffic where you don't want the traffic to go to a firewall, so then this comes into play. So the offloaded IPS capabilities will be on the AP, and then once it is going through, then it will be passing through the internet. It depends on your business needs. You want to tunnel entire traffic back to the centralized location headquarters, you have your FortiGate or a firewall working on it. If not, the AP itself can do all that.
But the policies are all managed on the FortiGate
on the
pushed to the AP?
Yes.
And then so all the reporting that the AP sees gets pushed up to...
So you can push it back to the FortiGate, or you can push it to a log analyzer, a third party, or our own log analyzer, so that you can redirect it to AIOps and have AI insights on the logging which you have been doing.
And is it a separate CPU that does the security portion, and then wireless is all handled by different...
No, yeah. So there are processes defined or attached to CPUs. We have like multi-core CPUs. So yeah. Based on...
Does this add to the cost of the AP itself to have all these extra features at the edge?
So UTP is one feature. It's a SKU based. It's a license based enabling on a specific AP. Not everyone might need the feature, right? So this is an additional feature, and it needs a FortiCare and FortiGuard support on a frequent basis, where it keeps connecting to FortiGuard and getting the latest updates on security and the IPS signatures and stuff. So those updates need SKU. Yeah.
I mean, even if I'm bridging the traffic and I have FortiGate, technically all that still will be available because that traffic in the end is still going through by the FortiGate, correct? So
only if you have an on-prem FortiGate managing it. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
One more thing. So with all these features and all that, are there any? Because obviously, if it's doing all that kind of stuff, right? So again, CPU, memory, and all that kind of stuff. Will FortiGate or your cloud show like the metrics around like, hey, is the CPU being overutilized possibly because, I don't know, it's handling a whole bunch of policies?
Yes, on the AP level, we do have APIs which goes to FortiAIOps, which will have the monitoring mechanism on AP stats in terms of Ethernet, CPU capabilities, the processing power, and the memory utilization. All these will be handled through APIs, and it is ported to FortiAIOps. So you can monitor everything in terms of your entire network topology portfolio.
But what if somebody doesn't have that? Can I use the APIs myself? Or
yes, you can always use your APIs, and also if it is managed by a FortiGate, FortiGate will also show each AP's capabilities. What is the current CPU utilization, etc. But only thing is, it will not trigger anything to make you like any AIOps can do.
Oh, you have to manually go in and
you have to. Yeah.
Question, when you're inspecting this traffic, are you analyzing anything about the user experience, or is it just for security?
No, so we do have a device identification engine where we analyze the user's posture, like what OS, what are the capabilities which the user has to support when it is connected. It is something which is added to the IPS signature set when you are doing a scan.
Okay, I was more specifically, are they having trouble with DNS and they might be having a bad user experience? Are you analyzing the traffic in that regard?
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's part of the AIOps engine where we can analyze the traffic based on if there is any DHCP outage or a DNS outage where the clients are unable to connect to it or and things like that. So it's part of the AIOps overall solution.
Okay, how about like a Teams call or something like that, a Zoom call? Did you
So the SLA
see
driven,
if it's a bad
the SLA driven or disconnection or client roaming SLAs and stuff, all these are some of the aspects which we can configure on AIOps and make it more event driven.
Sumanth, if I can cut
Yeah.
you. So there are different things we can do from a DM point of view. So of course, AIOps is here to give some insights. We also have some insights on the conferencing applications. But if you want to have a true DEM, we have FortiMonitor with all the agents and all the insights on different metrics. We can get different elements on various public services, such as time to connect, time to CCPN check, time to DNS resolution. So that is complementing the overall view of the experience of the station.
Why do you guys have so many external antennas on your access points?
So it's a 4 radio.
Okay.
So it's a 4x4.
Mhm.
So 6 gigahertz need to be independent of any other because it's the high 5 and the low 6 interfering with each other. So getting the bandpass filters and designing it makes it more complex.
So I guess keep the
Simplification.
cost-
Okay,
yeah.
there you go.
Well, bandpass, I know bandpass filters are very expensive. I mean, depending on, so you're probably keeping the cost down by not having to get.
No, so our motto is to make it less interfering between channels.
Okay.
Like when you're having enabling 5 gig and 6 gig low. So you don't want to restrict it with a software where you say the high 5 gig should not be enabled when the low 6 gig is enabled and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are open to that. So yeah.
There you go.
Is that a standard power AP or are those antennas fixed?
So these are with 6 gigahertz. These are all low power. For you to operate in the standard power, it is connected through AFC. So we do support AFC on all our Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E, Wi-Fi 7 APs.
Do you have already a standard power AP shipping or just the roadmap?
No. So all these APs can also operate in standard power.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So currently it is a limitation or a regulatory thing where you have to operate in low power till there is an AFC enabled on it, and then you connect to the AFC server on a daily basis and give your location, x-axis, y-axis, altitude, everything to the AFC server, and based on the feedback, you're permitted to operate in standard power.
About the AFC, is that something you choose or the end user has to choose that provider?
So for all our APs, AFC will be built in at no extra cost. So we've partnered with Qualcomm, who will be our AFC provider, and we use their SaaS services, AFC, to power our APs in terms of checking on the regulatory aspect of it.
Okay. Is that a membership or that service provided for the length of the AP, or that support also has to do something with it? No support, no AFC, or how that works?
So yeah, AFC has to be with support for sure. So it also links to the length of the AP, which we can support to the customer, right? So more or less 10 years lifetime of the AP is where the AFC will be supported.
So if they let support labs, will AFC services?
They can still operate the AP in a low power rather than a standard power. And this is all we are talking about is only limited to 6 gigahertz, not the entire operation of the AP. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. So the last slide, like bringing security to the AP, meaning we have taken care in terms of MACsec, TPM, FIPS compliance, and everything to the AP level. On top of it, we have multi-gig dual PoE support, like I was talking about. There are infrastructures where they might not be upgraded to the 11 BT requirement. 802.3 BT requirement. So that's when you have 2 ports where you can connect 2 of them in AT, which can become a BT power, or you can connect 2 AF powers, which will become a BT power or AT power. Sorry, yeah. So we do power sharing on that, and yeah.
With all these extra features on the AP, is it possible to turn them off and only use the security on the FortiGate?
So
Like all the features that you're including on the AP.
Antivirus and all that other
Can you
stuff.
turn those
So,
off?
so UTM on AP is specific to you. Only when you have a special SKU enabled on the AP, this will be enabled. Otherwise, you don't need to turn it on.
I'm just curious with latency, like does it?
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
any
So that's not
performance
necessary.
metrics?
So it depends on you when you enable it on a specific SSID or you don't want to enable it at all.
Oh, okay. You can
Yeah. So we provide solution to whatever the requirements or catering needs which you cater. Yeah. Okay. A quick snapshot. 4x4, BE, MU-MIMO, BLE, GPS, 21 GPS, 10 GPS ports. Okay, we'll go quickly over our other portfolio models, and what we have now, we have a naming convention when we call it 432G, the final alphabet caters to what series you are in, and depending on the series, what Wi-Fi technology it is supporting. So the K series, which is our Wi-Fi 7 product line, which you have seen, we still have our Wi-Fi 6 and 6E series supported and continue to support it as of now.
What happened to H and I?
Okay,
Hi.
it's a good question. We have decided to skip them for so that the 1024 became 4096 in terms of Wi-Fi 7. There is a lot of skip in between in terms of QAM, in terms of throughput, in terms of capabilities.
Letters are free. Pick the next one and make it look bigger. Yeah,
absolutely. We want to skip. We want to be more faster, higher.
There you go.
Okay, this is our entire current portfolio. You have a lot of F series. So we have very simple portfolio when you want to classify 2x2s, 4x4s, outdoor, and then you have a wall jack model, which is our desktop model. If you have not seen, this is our desktop model, which comes with additional LAN ports, which comes with pass-through ports, PoE, and you can also power another phone or anything on top of it with this.
Can that also become a faceplate?
Yes, so faceplate.
Like replace the jack and put that instead of the faceplate.
So the GNAT box or whatever. Yeah. So there is a additional accessory which you need to connect to it so that it can get attached to a GNAT. So, but otherwise it has a standing mount thing. You can put it on to top. So we also are heavily into operational technology, OT space, where some of our products are already C1D2 Class 1 Division 2 certification for, and also the C1D2 is more towards the explosive areas and gas and leakages and stuff like that. So we have two models, one in F series, one is in G series. We are also coming up with K series soon. In terms of K series, you already seen the 4x4, which we have launched. We are coming up with 2x2s very soon, 4 radios, same concept, and then we'll have a 23JK, which is our wall jack model. So yeah, I'll turn it over to Matt. He'll be giving a small Wi-Fi 7 demo.
So I'm going to be going through the demos today. You'll see me back and forth a couple of times. I'm a principal technical marketing engineer, principal TME here at Fortinet. So this is the common demo setup that you'll be seeing several times today. So what we're doing is we're basically anchoring the entire demo. We're anchoring everything we do with the FortiGate, with the firewall. As Chris mentioned, we've got a security fabric that allows us to manage, to monitor, to control, whether it be an access point, whether it be a switch, whether it be a FortiExtender, a lot of things, a lot of Forti words that you'll hear about today. So our entire demo is built around a single FortiGate, and that's what you'll see a little bit later on today. So, you know, we have an OT demo here simply because I'm an OT guy. And personally, I've got kind of a secret motivation here is that I think that there's a lot of real strong advantages in Wi-Fi 7 in an OT environment. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little later on. So specifically in terms of Wi-Fi 7, I'll just be using a portion of this demo today where we're actually just using a Wi-Fi 7 access point, this 441K sitting here on the desk, and two laptops. The 441K is managed, it's monitored, it's controlled through the FortiGate, and the laptops are just kind of hanging out there off to the side. So let's dig in and look at the FortiGate user interface. As I said, that's all we're going to be looking at today because we don't really need to see anything else. And please, as you guys have questions, you know, just certainly just throw those out as we go. So, this is the dashboard. You log into a FortiGate if none of you have seen it before. It's a pretty common user interface. It's been around for a long time. It's also common with a lot of our products, whether you're using FortiManager in the cloud. A lot of our products use this same type of interface. Of course, everything's customizable. You can create your own dashboard, your own widgets, however you want to set it up. These are some of the default dashboards you see here out of the gate. We're going to start with just one pre-canned dashboard, just simply Wi-Fi, which makes a lot of sense for us. It's not very exciting with just a single FortiGate and a single access point, but it still gives you a chance to get a really high-level view of what's going on. I can see that we've got one access point, we've got one client connected, we've got a couple of radios active. I have the 2.4 gigahertz radio turned off in case anybody cares. Signal strength is looking good to the one client that we have, and we're seeing about 214 rogue access points in the hotel today. Sound about right?
Yep.
Which is, I think, not ideal, but hey, it's what it is. Of course, these are all active dashboards, so we can drill in. We can see a little bit more information about what's happening in the environment today. So we can take a look at the one access point that we have online here. You can see at a really high level view, we've got a 441K. We've got just basically bridging SSIDs. I've got channels assigned. Basically everything that's going on here at a high level. I can take a look a little bit more and get a little bit, just a pop-up of everything that's happening with this access point. If I don't want to spend time drilling any further, I can kind of see everything that's, really going on right there. I can configure the access point from here. I can do whatever it is that, needs doing. Pretty basic setup. We do have templates. We do have profiles that let you configure 100 access points with a similar profile, because you don't want to go in and configure every single one of them. For this, I just have a really simple profile called Wi-Fi 7 because I am not creative. And it's a simple profile, basic login passwords. Radio 1 is 2.4 gigahertz. I just have it turned off. And I just have 802.11be turned on with, really down here is what's important, the 6 gigahertz radio with 320 megahertz channels turned on. And we're in bridge mode. So fairly straightforward, really basic configuration there. Not a whole lot of things to really be surprised about. You can also, drill in a little bit more and look at diagnostics straight from this. So, you can take a look at, what this radio is doing, what the access points are doing right now. Kind of neat. We can of course integrate with maps. We can show you maps. I don't have a map of the hotel that I've put this in, but we can take a look at the spectrum analysis, see it real time. You can get your waterfall chart. That is a very busy RF spectrum down there. You can see that at the bottom.
Is that coming from a separate radio?
Yes, that is coming.
Doing
absolutely.
Off-serving clients to pull it.
Absolutely, that's coming from the fourth radio that Sumanth mentioned. So we've got a fourth radio that's dedicated to scanning and assurance here, and that is an impressive. That is an impressive waterfall chart.
Is it scanning both protocol and spectrum at the same time, like switching back and forth, or?
Can, I believe.
So yeah, it can. Yeah. But with the new series, we have 4 radios and 1 radio dedicated to do background scan, foreground scan, weights, and all this. So it can do fully detecting actively. So you don't need to switch between service versus this.
Yeah, I swear I didn't plan this demo to be that interesting, but that is interesting. You can see interfering SSIDs, all the normal troubleshooting stuff. I think you can see in any good AP Wi-Fi monitoring environment, including direct client monitoring. So we can drill directly into our clients and take a look at this client that we have connected. As I said, we just have a single client here. So Windows laptop. So of course it's got nice Windows updates going on, taking place. That's really all that's really happening here. We can also take a look at the bandwidth there on the top chart there, and looks like Sumanth was ahead of me. You kicked off the iProof. Also,
my quick question: even though you had a 320 megahertz wide channel selected, I'm seeing it's advertising at 160. Does that dynamically change based on?
Are you on 5 gigahertz or?
No, I'm on 6.
I'm not sure. I have to look into that.
Oh.
Because we're getting, we have a 2x2 radio in the laptop, so we're
getting around 4 Gbps, which is still a 320 megahertz bandwidth.
That might be because these are Wi-Fi 6 Mac.
Yeah. Do you have a Wi-Fi 7 radio in your?
It's a Wi-Fi 6E radio
in your computer.
Oh yeah.
Because this laptop that we're using, we've actually
This is a Wi-Fi 7.
We've actually taken it apart and put an Intel BE200 in there. So it did not ship with a Wi-Fi 7 radio. So it is a 2x2 Intel Wi-Fi 7 chipset in there. And we're getting, we theoretical maximum, we should be getting 5.8 gigabits per second. We're doing an iPerf with TCP, so we're getting, around 4 gigabits per second. We were getting earlier today. After seeing that waterfall chart, I'm happy that we're getting 3.5 gigabits per second. So, and that's, granted, this is between a laptop sitting on one end of the table with an access point sitting at the other end of the table. So, it isn't,
it's not even line of sight.
It's not even here.
Non-bonded, non-MLO.
Yeah. We're not. We're still, I think, relatively early days with, in terms of Wi-Fi 7 client capabilities. But for what it is, still fairly early. Having a hacked laptop with an Intel chipset in it, we're getting pretty good throughput.
Promising.
Yeah.
From 54 Mbps to 4 gig on a client.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where we are now.
All right. So, any questions around this? This was really just all I wanted to do, just to really quickly show you what the interface is like with the FortiGate acting as a controller, acting as a wireless LAN controller. Remember, you get all of this for free. It's kind of bundled in with the FortiGate. It acts as the home run. We're doing the same thing. We can dig into it a little bit later on with a Ethernet switch here as well, completely managed and monitored from the FortiGate, as well as a Forti extender giving us LTE connectivity outside of it. So we can dig into a little bit of that later on, but I'm going to pass it over to.
I had a question about the interface. When you showed, where do you configure things like 807 kVR and data rates and power levels? Is that under profiles or something?
Yeah,
it's under profiles.
Yes.
Yeah, it's under profiles. Yes, we can go down here. I can show you a little bit more where I can show, within Wi-Fi and switch controller, I can show.
Connectivity.
Is it connectivity profiles?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So yeah, you could basically have a connectivity profile in here that would give you all that. Now you can have, what I was using earlier was an operation profile. This one here that has, just some really basic kind of setups. And then you can do a little bit more into your MPSK, your security setup. That could be in a connectivity profile, or your client connectivity type of things. So all of that's done, kind of through the profile here.
I know you had mentioned something about OT, and maybe we're going to get to it later, but is there a specific area in the interface that you dedicate to that?
So not a specific area in OT, because I think there is, I don't want to tease it too much, but there is an OT security service that does enable a lot of security capabilities, security signatures that are specific to OT environments. But there is not a specific area in the GUI. It's just if you turn on this switch that gives you the OT security service, you now have access to all of these IPS signatures, all of the application signatures, to do all of the same IPS, to do all of the same application checks, to do all of the same virtual patching that you can do without it, but now you can do it with all this additional visibility.
Do you have any other technologies besides Wi-Fi in any of your AP lines?
For OT?
LoRaWAN, or any other type of technology that you can integrate in your interface?
BLE and IoT.
Yeah, we have BLE radios in here, but within just this interface, within the FortiGate, I can show you really quickly. We have the security fabric, which as Chris mentioned is kind of how we tie everything together, and it really is truly tied together. It's not just, we're not just cross launching a GUI. We're not just doing any of that. We actually have all of these devices kind of integrated into the fabric. Now, our fabric here today is not that exciting. I've got a FortiGate, a Forti extender, I've got a switch, and an AP. Okay, so that's, it's still, pretty good, but it's not, what you would see in a larger environment. Now, we can have fabric connectors, both from Fortinet as well as third parties. It's not limited to just our devices that you can bring in and add. So you can have access points, FortiGates, you can have switches, you can have network connectivity, but you can also have management and monitoring. So you can have logging, you can have assurance, you can have security operations like SIEM and SASE, and the full gamut of capabilities. FortiClient can integrate into this, FortiSandbox, FortiDeceptor, which I think is just a really cool product that is the most insecure network simulated in the world. It's a honeypot, and lots of different things that all integrate into the same GUI.
It's like a lot of the OT stuff is also hardwire, right?
Can be, yeah. But I think more and more, I'm kind of teasing the OT section.
I'm sorry, I don't.
No, it's good, because I think since we're talking about Wi-Fi 7, I think specific in, I think Wi-Fi 7 in a in a residential or in a business environment is interesting because you get increased throughput. But I think in an OT environment, especially as you're looking at Industry 4.0 and flexible manufacturing, warehouses with autonomous robots that are connecting via wireless to move around. You're talking about manufacturing lines that are not fixed and hardwired, but mobile and flexible. Now all of a sudden you have safety critical devices that need to connect using Wi-Fi. That's where MPO, that's where flexible channel utilization becomes really, really important and makes Wi-Fi 7, even if you don't need the bandwidth necessarily, really interesting in OT environments. So that was my teaser for the OT section. All right.
I have a question about your channel selection.
Huh?
Do you have like the PSE channels listed? Do you guys use PSE by default for your ORM?
I'm seeing right now, Kevin, that I probably have a limited chipset on my computer, but with Wi-Fi Explorer Pro, it's using PSE channel, but that's the first of the eight.
First of the
It's
allocation.
not the second one. It's actually being the first channel of the group of 820s that you have.
So we do expose all the channels on 6 gigahertz, but when we select 320, we might have selected.
Do you have an option like to give?
You can select anything across the channels, all the available channels.
It's actually, and I'm not going to take up his time, but it's actually a really intuitive GUI where you can actually see the association of channels and channel width, and you can actually go and select, okay, I want to include this 320 channel, and it includes all of these other smaller channels within it. So it's actually a really intuitive GUI.
So when you select the 320, you have 3 options, right? It will give all the 3 channel bandwidths with the channels mentioned, so you can go select them. Yeah.
You'll see Wi-Fi 7 stimulating Fortinet sales opportunities within IT/OT convergence environments because of Wi-Fi 7 itself.
Yes, there is a huge demand and also interest from sales, from other engagements. We have had an accelerate recently. We have seen a lot of customers interested to learn more about it and to see. We showed the same demo there, and they were all excited with the 4 gigahertz throughput across one single client as such. So yeah, in the OT space, I think, yeah, you already spoke about with 4.0, maybe we are moving towards some sort of an interest in high throughput requirements.
So it's fair to say the OT side is pulling more of this right now?
No, it's the overall industry. OT side is still probably needs to catch up to 5 gig and then comes to 6 gig.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is the IT side.
I think OT is interesting because I think the short answer to your question is yes. The longer answer is OT tends to be 7 to 10 years behind IT. And that's just because of the risk tolerance is much less. The consequences are greater in an OT environment. That being said, there are a lot of motivators now for IT/OT convergence. There's a lot of desire to move to Industry 4.0, to move to flexible OT environments, to push things like Wi-Fi 7. So it's kind of OT, I would say, grows in fits and starts. So I think you'll see a lot of new factory deployments, new warehouse deployments that are really looking seriously at Wi-Fi 7. But then you'll see a lot of existing, really slow to update, brownfield deployments, basically.
Yeah, that aligns with what I'm. I think it's always going to be a potential stimulant for new sales, but it's journey, and naturally, when IT/OT convergence does take a foothold, it's good to see Wi-Fi 7 kind of serving as a potential catalyst with IT clearly being in the driver's seat. So this is good to hear. Valuable feedback.
And do you think that gap, 7 years or so it takes to catch up, OT to IT, is because people are not educated or because the products are not there to kind of like let them know there is a solution, and then the gap can be smaller because you can just provide
I think it's
right now?
I think it's because of the risk tolerance. So I don't think that anyone that works in OT, whether they're an IT professional in OT or they're a traditional manufacturing style OT person, I think they're all very much aware, especially as IT and OT are coming under one shop in a lot of companies. They're certainly very aware of it, but I think it's the consequences of risk is very different. And you also don't have the bandwidth needs, mostly in OT, short of machine vision and some AI operations. But I think, it's kind of like, if you have inconsistent latency, if you have jitter, if you have dropped packets in an IT environment, you've got an inconvenience. It's not great. You might get disconnected from Zoom. But if you have that in an OT environment, best case, you're losing lots of money when the production line is down.
Machines.
So it's
Worst case, someone's hurt.
yeah, risk and also R&D too, right? So I worked for a company and we did a bunch of OT work, and we were using actually a really old controller firmware, and I came from enterprise, and where we always try to update and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, this is like old stuff, right? Like, and some of the features, even the new ones, are not there. And they said, yeah, no, I don't think any new feature is getting updated, because they're like, R&D is going to throw a fit, because they have to go and make sure every single device, that OT device that they have, they're using, and the software all needs to update it, and they just don't want to do it. And like, everything works perfect, great, fits the need, and we have no interest in updating it.
It's not uncommon to have downtimes in a large manufacturing line measured in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per hour.
Yep.
And back to what Chris was saying about virtual patching, you do want to keep your PLCs, your HMIs all up to date. Sometimes this is a 10, 12-year-old PLC. It may not even be supported. There may not even be an option to do that. But I think what you'll see from us when we get into it is, we have the option with all of our hardware accelerated, IPS and application signatures, that we can dig in and we can prevent the traffic that causes that attack, even if you know that there's a vulnerability that you just can't address for whatever reason. So, sorry.
No worries. No worries. Good.
I just had a question on your. I'm looking at both your 5 gig and 6 gig, and your primary channel is the first channel. Do you have any way to control that to have it not drop in that slot to keep a OBSS situation out of it?
So yeah, we have a solution where your primary channel can also be selected depending on what you want. So more or less with 6 gigahertz in play, I think all the channels are free as of now. So we have not looked into on the 6 gigahertz spectrum, but on the 5 gig you can have an option to change the channels based on the requirement.